Joining us now, she's entering her 8th season at her alma mater, Western Kentucky, fresh off a Conference USA championship and an NCAA tournament appearance. I speak of Amy Tudor, who joins us here on In the Circle. Coach, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. Let's talk about, first of all, some exciting off-season for your program and your school here, as you have Larissa Franklin, obviously, who just was part of Team Canada, winning the bronze medal for Team Canada. What was that like for you to have uh, a fellow, a player there, an alum who's obviously been meant so much to your program to represent in the biggest global event in sports?
Yeah, it was an awesome experience for her. It was fun to, you know, from coaching her to now becoming like her fan. So that's been a nice transition, but very exciting for her and her family and her team. I think she represented Team Canada and, our program in the highest manner. And she's obviously an exceptional player, but she's an exceptional person.
No question. Did you know her well? What take us through that path for her? What was it like behind the scenes, as knowing what she had to go through to get prepared for the Olympics? Obviously, got pushed back a year and things like that. But just take us through that process as someone that's known her, and obviously, hey, there's only one shot in the Olympics with softball. We don't know when the next time it'll come back. We hope it's 2028. But there's that extra pressure of, hey, this is the last Olympics for softball for a while.
Yes. So Larissa started off in Fort Wayne with me as a freshman. So her freshman year, she actually missed all of her, basically up until we started playing games, traveling with the junior national team with Canada. So she was playing some of the best from, early on. So it's always been her biggest dream that she's really had her sights on, and she attacked it. Like, she basically attacks all parts of her life. She's a go-getter. She's a team player. She had to put in tons of hours. She tries to make the team better, and she was still available even to chat. So we kind of chat, once a month or something like that. So it's always good to catch up with her, get ideas, see what she's going through. I feel like I've known her for a long time, from freshman year on, and she's really worked hard, and, it's obviously paid off. I'm so proud of her.
It's one of the greats in the program history, of course. 398 career average, played over 213 games, of course, was part of the 2015 championship team that got to a regional there. What kind of, for those that didn't get to see her play in the program, what was the type of player, what kind of impact she had on Western Kentucky?
Yeah, I mean, she was our go. She was lead off. She had speed, power, threw over 70 in the outfield, covers a lot of ground, great size. We're very fortunate to have her, and she also impacted everyone else around her. And I think that was one of her biggest assets from a coaching point of view. And I would say her teammates would say she was a great teammate. And so that's just who she is. And she's really a light. And, obviously we miss her not being here because she loved to practice, and as a coach, you want players to love to practice. And, she had bigger dreams than just playing here. And I think it showed, and it's all of her hard work paid off. So congrats to her, but I'm not shocked. I would say that I'm not shocked on how well she's done and how well she'll continue to do. She's just intrinsically motivated.
And I would imagine, as you go into recruiting and you'll be able to finally get back to recruiting in person, you probably point to her as an example. Hey, you come here, you can accomplish any goal you want here playing at Western Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, she's a great role model. She obviously set the bar very, very high. She's our first Olympian, our first medal winner. So she did a lot of firsts. So it's a great recruiting tool. It is something that she's one of the faces of the program, and one of the greats to ever play here.
Another recruiting tool you can use. Obviously, you're fresh off a conference championship. Have you had a chance to reflect on last year? It was a heck of a year, 32-15. And you went the gauntlet in the conference championship. You beat the top 3 seeds back to back to back. It wasn't like there was no easy routes there. You beat North Texas and Hope Troutwine. You beat Charlotte, who's playing very well. You beat UAB in that championship game. Have you had a chance to reflect on your season and specifically that run in the C-USA tournament?
I thought we made a great run. Obviously, those are all three great teams. Conference tournament's difficult. I knew that it would be a challenge for us. Being to play at home was a huge advantage to have our fans here and to have the support of the overall community. And, it's the first time for us hosting ever. And so I thought it was a pretty special event. So I was really proud of how different players stepped up in different situations. Looking back and seeing, how the game changes and when did the flow start going one way versus the other way. And it was just exciting to see them actually peaking at the right time as a unit. And I tried to enjoy it. I told the team before in 15 when we won it, I don't know if I enjoyed it enough. And so I really tried my best to enjoy the moment and enjoy what we were trying to do as a team. And just to see them have success was a lot of fun, since we had, any team goes through it, but going through stops, goes, it's a definitely different year for every program out there. So it's fun to win it. Looking back, thinking about things that we can get better at, I would say is what I've reflected on, and hopefully use our experience and the successes we had and build on those.
Yeah, but making it to the tournament, first time since 2015, you make it back to the NCAA tournament. How did it feel to get back there? After 6 years, it's not easy to make the NCAA tournament. What was that like, that moment where you get that last out, you win that championship, you're going to the NCAAs, and you end up going to a familiar place in Athens for a regional and represent yourself?
Yeah, apparently we love to go to Georgia. So, no, Georgia's a great host. It's just we went there in 15, so I was like, oh my goodness, we're going back. So it was fun to get the text from the alums and, the players that actually played there in that regional. And so Georgia's a great host, and, we felt familiar with that territory for at least one of my assistants who was on the team in 15, so it felt great. I would say, it's what you work for every year, is trying to get to the NCAA tournament. And fortunately for us, sealing the deal with the conference championship was the route that we took to get there.
Was there a moment during the season where you thought, hey, this team has the making to win, to make it to the tournament? Obviously, I think from a national standpoint, people took notice of your team March 24th when you knocked off Kentucky in a classic 2-1 game, 9 innings. So I think a lot of people started taking notice, and even had you maybe in the bubble, even if you didn't win the conference tournament, you never know what would have happened. But was that a moment where you thought this team could be? What was that moment when you thought this team could be special and accomplish the goals that you set out?
Well, we were plagued by a few injuries, so I'd say that played a little bit of a role at times. But I felt like we were strong in the circle, so we had a deep pitching staff. I felt like we had a good combination of speed and power at the plate, and I felt pretty comfortable with everyone that returned from 20 was basically a starter again. So we've had experience, and I felt like we had the arsenal to be very good, but we hadn't been to the big stage in 2 years to the conference tournament, because 20 got canceled. So you don't know what the team's going to do until it's time to go. So I felt like athletically we had tools to be good, but the mindset is huge, and I felt like everyone was dialed in. And I don't know if there was a moment during the season. Obviously any win is a great win, but I felt like there was a making of a championship team.
No question. And obviously, we talked a lot about Larissa Franklin on the episode, but you played against her. You played an exhibition in Gainesville against the Team Canada. That had to be kind of unique. A pretty cool experience, though, for your student athletes there to get that experience, especially the returners, to have these different experiences, playing the tough competition, but also playing a future medalist Olympian team.
Yeah, that was an awesome experience. To go down there and be able to see Larissa again and see her in her element. And I think some of the players had never seen her play. And so that was super, super exciting. And what an opportunity for us. She did hit a home run against us. I think she got on base and made diving catches. I mean, she did Larissa things. So, I was glad that she did well. It still didn't feel good to have the home run hit against us, but facing that team that was so good, was great for all of our team, and being able to go down there in Florida was nice enough to let us come play, and it was a great environment to get us ready, I feel like, for postseason.
I would say so. You get to play a national team. That's got to make you better. And I got to believe for those players, it's a experience they won't forget anytime soon for that group that was a part of it. I mean, that's a great learning experience.
Yes, it was. I mean, some of the greats were throwing against us, and it was a struggle. If I'm being honest, to hit their pitching staff, but I knew that we wouldn't face anyone better than what Canada had in the circle, and then also their batters as well. So it was an honor to play them.
Let's talk about your journey. What got you interested in playing softball? What got you interested? And then obviously you end up going to Western Kentucky. You're a graduate 02. You were a catcher. You had one of the best catchers in the history of the program, if not the best. But just tell me about your journey, how you got to Western Kentucky as a player.
Yeah. So I don't know what this thing just did, but can you still hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. So I actually started off playing baseball when I was 4. And so I'm from a very small town in Tennessee, and there weren't that many opportunities for girls sports. So played baseball, basketball, and soccer with the boys, and just loved to play sports. And my mom and dad supported my brother and I, and that's kind of how I got my start into baseball. And then once I believe I was 13 or 14, they had fast pitch softball, so I transferred over to softball, and I loved it as well as baseball. And I'm grateful for my baseball background. It was great to play against some really good guys, and helps make you mentally tough. And they're usually bigger, faster, stronger. So that was a lot of fun as well. But going to college, it was fantastic to go to school here. I love my opportunity. I feel like it was awesome to meet people from around the country that joined our softball team. So it's actually the first team that ever played here. And so we're all brand new, and we're all trying to learn and all trying to represent Western Kentucky in the best manner possible. So still friends with a lot of those girls today, and treasure them as well as my coaches that gave me the opportunity. So after graduation, I didn't know if I really wanted to coach, but got into coaching. And my first head coaching job was at Ohio Wesleyan, a Division III school, and I was 24 years old, and I'm not sure if I knew what I was doing, but I tried really hard, and I was grateful to get my coaching start.
And you paid your dues in the coach. I mean, you coached at a lot of different places before you got to where you're at now. Just talk about that journey. Once you decided to get to coaching and that journey, because it's not easy. It's a lot of travel, a lot of hard work, but you paid your dues to get where you're at. Because you coached at a lot of different places to get to where you're at.
Yeah, and I think each place kind of, helps build your character and your resume, and you get to coach a lot of wonderful young ladies that have an impact on your life, once they're older. And it was a learning experience, I would say, and hopefully, I've learned from year 1 till now and continue to learn. But I had a lot of great assistants, and it's been, I would say, Division III was challenging because, it was brand new to me, and you didn't have athletic aid, and you had to learn how to recruit a little different way. But I had a great support staff at Ohio Wesleyan, and a lot of the coaches there were wonderful, and helped me along on my journey. And, each stop, there was something that was beneficial. And it was when this door opened, I felt like this was the right door to go through, to return and try to win a conference tournament championship here. That something that I felt like we could do, and we were fortunate enough to be able to do that.
When you came back, what's it like? You were at Western Kentucky as a player, kind of the beginning of the program. You come back to take over the program as a head coach. What is that like? as someone who's basically, I mean, you bleed this university's, colors, if you will. You bleed it. It's in your sleeve, What's that like to have been on both sides, being at the beginning of this program and seeing the growth over the years, and now you're kind of in charge of it?
Yeah, it's a surreal experience. It's, I would say as a player, I probably never thought this would happen. I think it's an honor to play here, and it's an honor to come back and be able to coach here. And I remember those first days and what we did have and what we didn't have, and how the program's grown. And every coach before me that's kind of set the bar a little higher, and hopefully, our coaching staff is doing the same. And Western's a great place, and it's easy to have pride in this program when you feel so supported and welcomed, and it's just fun to wear red.
I was going to say, is there extra pressure that you put on yourself because you're an alum, this program inside out? Do you put extra pressure on yourself? Do you avoid thinking of pressure in that? How do you handle that as an alum, but yet you're the head coach of the program?
Yeah. I think there's pressure in every job. I would say this is probably no different for me. The expectations are to win. And that's what we're trying to do, and trying to graduate girls, and, hopefully some of them will go into coaching, and still, remain involved in softball in some way. But I would say, I felt like it was a challenge. There's a lot of things that hadn't been done and I felt like could be done. And fortunately, I've got a great staff, and, a great group of ball players that are willing to put in the time, the work, and want to invest in this program and try to make it better for everyone else to come. So I just try to use my experiences as, hopefully, someone else in 4 years gets to wear this uniform, and try to make that number better.
Of course, you take over for Tyra Perry, who obviously did a great job at West, led the program to the NCAA tournament in 2013. You take over, and of course, you get 2015, that magical year. We talked about Larissa Franklin. She was the leader on the offensive side. You had Miranda Kramer, an All-American pitcher. Just take me through that. You're taking over for Tyra, who did a great job and left you in a good situation there with the program. And you got this, and then you take over and win that conference championship with those great players in 2015. Take me through that period.
Yeah, that was a special year by far. Four of my former players transferred in, and there were 4 seniors here. And so I knew that we had the makeup of at least 8 players that had been to the NCAA tournament. And so they knew what it was like. They knew what it took. And I knew that they would put in the time and effort, but they also had the right mindset. So they knew it was a privilege, and they had the opportunity to do something that no one else has done. And it was, obviously we had the circle shut down, and I would say that was a huge part of it. Miranda was the best to ever play here. So that was a nice addition to the program. But, it was in a great place. Tara did a fantastic job. And she's awesome. So we've been friends for a long time, and I knew that the program ran right, and I was walking into something that, I could hopefully have an impact like she did.
Miranda Kramer, first team All-America, the first ever in program history, was the female athlete of the year. Just describe what was she like as a player. I know you got to know her well. I think she even stuck around after her playing and started her coaching career at the time under your staff afterwards. What was she like as somebody? Because really, in a lot of ways, she put Western Kentucky softball on the national map, because you were a lot of focus on her with the year she was having and in your program.
Oh, most definitely. She is, she was fun to coach, fun to watch, fun to challenge. She had a great support staff at home. I think that was a big part of it. Both of her parents are awesome, and her sister. And so they followed us everywhere. She got better every year. So from freshman year to senior year, she actually was like the number 3 for us in Fort Wayne when she started. And so her progression and her work ethic were fantastic. And, she just had the right mentality. It's almost, I know the old cliche, the lights go on, you go on. Well, that was her. The bigger the stage, the bigger she played. And she was exciting because she was a strikeout pitcher. So, she didn't throw hard. And now a lot of days you see like 70, and we like 70, don't get me wrong. But, she was throwing 58, 59 when she came in. So she just had great, exceptional late movement. And, she developed a changeup and it changed her game. She was a huge part of why we were so successful. And I knew how special she was. So that was exciting to be back with all four of them. And her catcher is actually on my staff now. So really close to those four that transferred in, and thankful for the four that were here. They were huge impacts for us as well. It's just an exceptional year for us.
No doubt, an amazing mark she has left there. That's certainly the greatest in the program history. I'm curious, you were a great player yourself. You were a catcher. I think you threw out 23 base runners one of your years, one of the best ever in the history of the program. How would Amy Tudor, the player, and Amy Tudor, the head coach, coexist in the same room there? How would that go? How are they the same? How are they different?
I would like to say I'm a little more empathic as a coach. See the bigger picture. As a player, I'd say I was very quiet. I tried to do my job and do it to the best of my ability. And I'd say I'm similar as a coach, not very extroverted, but I enjoyed playing the game as hard as I could play. And I enjoy coaching the game and seeing other people be successful. So anything I wasn't good at, or if I went through something that wasn't good, hopefully my failures can help someone else be better. So I feel like I think we could coexist, I think.
That's good. Playing catcher, did that help you as far as a coach? I've always heard that a catcher is set up to be a head coach or a manager in Major League Baseball, because as a catcher, you're thinking the game throughout, whether it be how is the pitcher doing, you're thinking every sequence. Did that help you, being a catcher, help you kind of transition to coaching easier?
Yeah, I think it does, definitely. I was a point guard in basketball as well. So used to kind of being that leader on the court or on the field. So I feel like it does transition into coaching. There was a lot of expectations, or maybe you talk to the coach a lot more about what's going on. Being able to separate, your friends from X's and O's is important when you're trying to be a leader on the field. So I think that transfers over, especially from catcher, but I'm sure other positions, other programs may have had that role as well. And, it's something hopefully that helps me now coach a little bit better.
You were a two-sport star. You played basketball. You mentioned you were a point guard. You left your high school as the leading scorer and assist leader. What made you decide to play softball or basketball? And did playing multiple sports help you? Because I've heard a lot of coaches tell me now that even in recruiting, they really like it actually when they recruit a kid and she's playing multiple sports, because it shows how competitive they are, and it also reduces maybe burning out just by playing one sport. Did you feel that you benefited from playing multiple sports?
Absolutely. I felt like, basketball made me a better softball player, and softball made me a better basketball player. So yes, I feel like the high school that I chose, that had to be a priority of what I was going to play both. So basketball is really big in Tennessee. So that's like the sport that our state's known for. So a lot of times basketball coaches don't want you to play softball, but that I had to play softball and I had to play basketball. So I feel like, in my opinion, it helps with a lot of different aspects of playing softball in college. It's still teamwork. You still get conditioned. Basketball is a little more physical. The coaches chew you out a little bit more than they do in softball normally. So if you can take a good chewing and a little physical contact. Back when I played, their obstruction was obsolete. So I feel like being a multi-sport athlete definitely helps with coordination, mindset. You're just still dealing with failure. It's just faster pace. So in basketball, but I would say definitely those help prepare athletes, and I'm definitely a proponent for multi-sport athletes.
Being in Tennessee, I would imagine, did Pat Summitt have an influence on you growing up, watching her coach at Tennessee, and like, well, tell me of some of the coaches that maybe that influenced you as you were getting into coaching or thinking about getting into coaching, either before or since you've got into coaching that you lean on.
Yeah, I feel like obviously Pat Summitt did so much for all women and what she was able to do. Um, for everyone, what an influence she had and what an impact she made. And obviously her legacy is untouchable. So I feel like very grateful for all the things she did for obviously women's basketball, but for all sports. I grew up a Gino fan, so I really liked UConn and, what he does. And I would say that's somebody that I watched and enjoyed watching. But I would say a lot of my influence, my dad coached me. Some of the coaches, baseball coaches back home, are people I lean on. And then obviously in the coaching world today, there's a lot of great mentors, and just seeing what they're doing well and trying to replicate some of their successes.
Let's talk about your current team here as you get set to begin fall ball and things like that. Obviously, you lose some production out of the offensive side. Who are some of the players you're looking to kind of be their leaders on the offensive side, either from the returners or maybe even some of the newcomers that might kind of step in there and help and lead the offense?
Yeah, I think it's going to take like I said before, I felt like our team was made up of a lot of different variables. And I felt like once we all came together, we were a pretty good offensive unit. I feel like, every year you lose players. And so you try to make replacements, but you don't really know what someone's going to do until they are actually in those shoes and standing in the box when it comes season time. So that's unknown to this point. Obviously, all of our returners had a huge impact for us in postseason. That's one thing I've really focused on is how we performed in postseason numbers wise. What do you do when the lights come on? And that's probably the biggest stage that we played on in a long time. And so I'm excited about several that are in our lineup, and I feel like there's a lot of different contributors in a lot of different ways offensively.
Let's talk about your pitching staff. Obviously, Shelby Nunn, you returned, led you in wins last season. Just talk about how you feel about her and your pitching staff.
Yeah, Shelby's coming off of a strong year and threw for us in the NCAA tournament as well as Katie Gardner. So we returned both of those arms that do the majority for us in postseason. I was glad they had that experience, and they had great success. So they'll be back. Shelby had a little minor surgery on her foot, but she's starting to work her way back into pitching gradually. And Katie has gotten stronger every year. So Shelby's a super senior, and Katie is a sophomore. So
who are some of the new faces you're looking forward to seeing this fall and learning from them and would they feel they could contribute on this roster?
yeah, I think in our class we have 2 transfers and 5 freshmen, and I think all of them bring something a little different to the table. One slaps, and the other one's a switch hitter, and we have a pitcher that we brought in as well, and we brought in 2 catchers, a transfer catcher, and a hitter, a transfer hitter. So I think they fill roles that we felt like we needed to kind of plug in. So I'm not sure exactly who will shine the brightest, but they all will contribute.
Two last things. Your thoughts on Conference USA? Super competitive last year, no different this year. You got North Texas, Charlotte among them. What's it like playing in Conference USA for those that don't follow it on a daily basis?
Yeah, there's tons of talent. Any team on any day can be beat. I feel like we've got quality coaches throughout the conference that have done an outstanding job. College coaches, it's constantly changing, but we're spread out. The the fun thing about it is you get to fly to Texas, you can fly to Florida from where we are. And then you have some drivable schools. So you get to go to a lot of different parts of the country. But everyone in our conference is playing competitive softball and trying to grow our league. Conference USA has been in the past when a very strong conference. And I feel like we're working our way back up to that point. So it's exciting. I mean, it's fun and competitive, and there's really no walkaways.
And I know in talking to other coaches in the league, Joe Guthrie and others, you all believe you could be a multiple bid league, and that's really the goal you're all working, shooting for.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say either in 17 or 18, we sent 2 or 3
Yep.
teams. In 15, we sent 2. We might have sent 3 in 16 as well. So I feel like we can send multiple teams. I felt like UAB was on the verge this year, definitely of going and at large. But I feel like there's other schools in our conference that are competing at a high level. You mentioned a few of those, but I feel like we can do those things. The Sun Belt had a great year and sent several teams, and I feel like we can mimic that.
Last question, as you get going in the fall, what are some of the keys for this team to do between now and the start of the season? What are some of the things to work on, some of the keys to being successful and accomplish your internal goals?
Yeah, I think building a culture is definitely important with this team this year. I feel like not getting complacent. You can get complacent with success, and that is a challenge for us coaches to try to put this into play as we go through our fall and try to build that team culture, and also have a good balance of doing other things that build team culture, not just softball, and just having fun doing it. I can't stress that enough. It's a game. I love this game. Playing since I was 4. It's been a awesome experience, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to still play a game and have a job. So our biggest challenge too is to grow the game, and be better than we were last year.
Well, Coach, we look forward to seeing your team on the field, but congrats in the meantime on last year and all the success you've had to this point. Good luck this fall and this upcoming season, and we hope to talk to you down the road.
Thank you. Very nice talking with you.